Everything is possible in your life when you believe. When you believe, everything is possible. You have two hands. Amen. Everything is possible. Go. Go. And take it whatever you want to do.
Okay, hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. How are you folks? I am on my way home from work today. How was your work day? Today is Friday. It's the weekend. I hope you put in your work to get that paycheck. Today's payday for me. Many days are paydays because there's so much I have. Well, I don't want to say so much income, but between my work job and land business, there's always sometimes where you're getting paid, sometimes payday on multiple days. I had a video that I did before that I'm going to do now because I did not get the right recording that I wanted, the way I wanted to record, but I want to go back on it. And we're going to talk a little bit about in life. Many people are struggling. Many people are trying to find their way through life. They're trying to dig themselves out of holes. They're trying to find happiness where happiness cannot be found. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today, look at these people about to hit each other, is where do you find your inspiration from? Where do you find your motivation, your drive? I talked about this in a previous video that never got published, and I talked about you need something greater than just the feeling to want to win. You need something greater than I want to be rich. I want to have an easy life. I want to be wealthy. You need something greater than that. Most of the times, people who are able to achieve something great is because they extend themselves beyond their individual desires. And you see many entrepreneurs now speaking about being in service to others. Because again, people come and will coalesce around you when you are in service to others. You have a product that can help humanity or people on a large scale. You can look at examples of that, such as Jeff Bezos and what he's done with Amazon, getting people packages literally overnight or same day. He changed the world because, and look, we got an Amazon truck right up here. Look at that. Great example. He changed the world because he was able to provide a service for people, and no longer did you have to wait 5, 6, 7 days to get products. And that made him a billionaire in our time, in our lifetime. He wasn't from generational wealth. I mean, although, he got a loan and it was a substantial amount. I got it. He had a family that had money in those days' terms. Yes, I get it. But again, he had also the same opportunity to blow it and not be successful. So just having access to capital in the form of seed funding, like he did, he had, and his family loaned him money to start his business. I got it. But many people, that does not exclude his work efforts to become a billionaire. Just because you got a loan, it does not exclude your ability to grow that into something successful. It's not the reason your work ethic is. Your ability to be persistent, to be consistent against those odds, against that failure, is at an all-time high. Because the overwhelming majority will waste that opportunity. You're not guaranteed to become successful just because you got funding. That's not how it works. Let me get up around this person because this is crazy here. Yeah, they're already stopping because they're driving in the middle lane. They're not driving in the, whoa, fam. You got all that room. Why don't you drive straight? Don't get over. Don't get over. There you go. You do you, man. I got me. I've got somewhere to be, folks. You you see that lady, she's in the left lane, and that's what causes tons of traffic. That's where you'll be backed up. See all this traffic on the left? That's backed up because that lady won't get into the middle or right lane. She will drive slow, not with the flow of traffic because people are trying to get the hell home. She will drive in the left lane and drive slow as if she was in the right lane. She will not get over for anybody. She is there as a chaos creator. So going back to what I said about being able to be of service to people, one of the things that's come true to my life is because I'm providing people with opportunities to own land, and it is not about me getting the bottom dollar, the almighty top dollar, selling at the highest price. That's where I beat out people who are trying to sell a home. Because again, I'm not looking for the absolute top of the market, top dollar. Versus you'll have homes sitting on the market for years on end while people are still getting their money or their equities being eaten alive by maintenance and the fact that they have property taxes. And again, they're not able to write that home off as an expense. None of the items or costs that are hitting you as a homeowner are you able to write off as an expense unless your home owns that, unless you own the home as a business. And if you don't own a home as a business, then you are just being eaten alive by the cost of labor. It does you no good. So what inspires you to be successful? Because again, you could say someone that inherited money from their parents and is well off and wealthy is successful in life. So success does not need to be begotten by efforts and labor alone. It is not a criteria for being successful. Although a lot of times in the older generation, you need to get it out the mud just like the previous generation. And while that's happening, other families who are passing on wealth, who are building empires within their own bloodline, they care not whether you qualify because a qualifier is keeping it within the blood. The bloodline, that is. So with that, the success can be handed down. Maybe, it gets passed through a child that doesn't necessarily do as much with it. They waste it. They waste opportunities. But eventually, if it's passed down and maintained at a substantial level, the wealth eventually reaches the one that it's supposed to reach, who brings it into hyperdrive and exponential matters. They bring the wealth beyond what it could have been in the previous generations. So, and that's the thing about it. It may not be your child as the chosen one, if you will, the dragon warrior that can turn the wealth into something beyond that metric. But again, you think about this, because a lot of people are always saying that, passing down, wealth is lost, kids don't do the right thing with wealth. There's all these reasons to not qualify people, and that's a crab in a bucket mentality. Because if you think about it, if you weren't wealthy, right, or you weren't a person that came from a lot of wealth, your family still went through the ups and downs of being poor, being a slave owner, losing wealth, losing income, losing family, whatever you've gone through. Your family bloodline has gone through all the changes in time to be able to get to the point now where Jeff Bezos is the billionaire of his family. One of the richest men on the planet. So again, but he had help from a family that could give him some capital. So, and maybe there was a wealthy person in the past, and maybe they weren't. But again, the whole point is that it got passed down to the point where it hit the mark eventually. And it's going to be much harder in this time period because, again, we're not in a point where the earth or the world is new anymore. And what I mean by that is that you could see something happening in China in the same time that you're over here in America. You can see what's going on in Brazil. It's not new anymore because you can see it happening in real time. You literally have the power to be present anywhere because through your cell phone and technology. So with that, I'm saying that, again, before the discovery of America, discovery of, go to a city, do new opportunities. You couldn't apply for a job in Chicago the same way you can now. There's a big barrier that was before where every new area you moved into, no one knew who you were. And now, anytime you move into a new area, we pretty much, your history follows you. So again, when I'm talking about what inspires you, you need a reason that makes you tenacious and determined in life. You need a reason that no matter what, it gets you up in the morning time to keep pressing on when you don't feel good, when life gets hard, when you're sick and you still need to go to work. It needs to be the reason why you stay up long nights working on your business, working on your craft, building skills, and finding ways to become a value add to people in life in your community. You've seen that with me doing the announcer for my daughter's baseball, or softball, I'm sorry. Coaching opportunities, assistant coaching, mentoring. And the thing about it is that people expect to box you in so much that they find it hard to believe that you have these skills, and that's the thing. You haven't given up on yourself. You haven't stopped growing. You haven't stopped evolving. But again, it's got to feed into a direction that keeps your movement going forward. You know, if I get off on this exit up here, it doesn't take me straight in my destination where I want to go. I might be heading in the same way, meaning west, but I'm going to be way off my target. If I go straight in a straight line and my destination is this degree north, straight ahead, and I decide to go north, northeast to go straight, I'm still going to be miles off when I get to the same point, that same linear point. I'm going to be miles off from where my target is. So again, that's what I say sometimes, that people are doing stuff and they're just doing anything. They're not doing something that helps them get forward in life. It gets them closer to their destination. I'd rather have a person, and again, that's that degree of curvature there. How far you curve outside of your destination at linear motion. You need to do things that move you in a straight line and propel you forward towards your goal. Not stuff that gets you to go east-west and it gives you lateral movement. Even if you're going forward, you still could be moving laterally, and it takes you off your heading. If you keep coming up this way, you're moving laterally. You're not moving linear. And even though you're heading in the same direction, you're landing, you're going to be way off target. And people have to care about that in life. And I'm speaking to the people that have that ultimate desire. Because you're going to have a lot of people looking back on life and they've wasted opportunity. But again, that comes from they didn't have things in front of them that inspired them beyond their limitations. And that's something I talked about in another video, is that you've got to set the goal for something impossible that you can look to accomplish. And once you start accomplishing impossible things, things that were once impossible now seem possible, no matter how large or how difficult of a feat it may be. Now, I'm not talking about flying. You can fly with no aviation, no, materials. Let's keep this into the realm of pragmatism, meaning that you're going to be smart about it. You're not going to say something dumb like, I can turn into a tiger, not anything mythical or so abstract. I'm talking about you getting out of debt, getting into becoming more financially literate, being able to, have a business, start a business and become a successful entrepreneur, being able to raise capital or have a level of investment, achievable goals, not things that are not achievable. I'm looking for qualified outcomes is what I want. Come on, lady, go. Get over. What are you doing, Grandma? If you just get over, you had an opportunity there. All this real estate, and she could have got over there to the left just a second ago. There was a wide gap for her to get over. Any which way, I'm going to move on. You got people going to school, getting 3, 4, 5 college degrees, and they ended up with a mortgage worth of debt. Traumatized, looking for Joe Biden or Trump or Supreme Court to help them out, get out of decisions they've made, loans that they've signed up for, and the only thing they can say is, well, I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. Because again, there was no education, no desire to learn. It was give me the free money and I'm going to get the outcome. Lady, you got to go and get over. You could have been gotten over. Go, get over. It's not going to come if you wait 20 years. Dear God, this just, no. She can't be helped. She's going to wait to get over at the last possible moment. Go on. This is so annoying. There you go. Look, I got right past him. Could have waited. I would have let you through, buddy. Any which way. I'm going to move on to the next thing. And you do need to have a certain tenacity. You got to have something that drives you forward. You got to have something that makes you want to get on the phone and talk when you don't want to talk. When you're sick, it gives you strength. And it can't be this manifest BS that people talk about. You know, I'm just going to think about it, because again, that is the low-hanging fruit. That is the least amount of energy possible to accomplish something. If you look over here, that machinery requires a whole lot of energy to clear up a highway. You want to clear out this problem of congestion, you need more road. What you got to do is you got to get rock, rubble, dirt, concrete, minerals, and everything out of the way. You got to move earth in order to get a flat road. It takes tremendous energy to be able to make this road so we can all drive on it. And even then, it needs maintenance. You can see these cracks in the road. Your drive and intensity requires maintenance. It requires food. Your ability to be a person that can accomplish things, accomplishing an impossible task, something that is hard to do. That's one thing. Then you got to reload. Then you got to do it again. You got to rinse and repeat. And in order to continuously do that in life, where you are able to keep evolving, keep taking advantage of opportunities as they come, you're able to seize opportunities as they multiply. In order to do that, you have to be fed well. I'm not talking about food, but I'm talking about what is feeding your desires. What is feeding your tenacity? You know, for me, and my example is my children, and the fact of when I'm putting in energy to them, when my wife and I are putting energy into them, what I'm receiving back is them skipping, them excelling, them accelerating. And then I need to give them, you know, more tutoring. Everything becomes more expensive, not because they're growing, it's because of their output. It's what they're giving me that requires more from me in order to sustain them, which means I've got to bring more home. I got to hunt. I got to become a better hunter, because the children require more meat. They require a different kind of meat then, a different kind of food to sustain them, a different type of nourishment to sustain them. And that means that I've got to go where the game is bigger and the hunt is more dangerous. Which means that in my life, I've got to do things while I'm exhausted. That means I don't always get the best sleep. That doesn't mean I always get the best health or any outcomes. I live in an area where people are millionaires, have $1 million properties, and drive cars that you can't even name. But yet when I look at their children, I don't see the intelligence that matches the wealth. It doesn't. It does not match the wealth that I see that they have. Their children's ability to speak, their intellect, it doesn't always match up. Which means that their wealth is in the money, not in their children's capacity, their children's ability to think, to get ahead. It doesn't. It means that the way that they will continue to amass wealth is in opportunity and connections. Well, I don't have that same level of opportunity and connections, so I've got to supplement it with something else. The same way that I'm hunting and learning how to hunt, the ability to grow, the ability to increase and improve myself, I've got to pass that down and build up what I can to be able to pass it on. And who knows if those people are really as wealthy, or are they just wealthy people with debt? I may not be as wealthy as them, but I don't carry around a lot of debt. I don't have a lot of liability. What I'm trying to do is have more assets that earn me income, that I can get to a point where I now can sustain myself at a level where I don't need to input anymore in order for that to be sustaining, which means that I no longer have to keep working the way I do to keep myself at an inflated level to be able to maintain being dry on high or low tide. Whenever there's an economic downturn or upturn, I can always stay above water. And you do that because you need something to drive yourself. Being married is not a driving force for me. It's not. I've been with my wife 10 years married, 12 years altogether, and I love my wife, but it is not a driving force for me. It's not. My children are a driving force because I want the best outcome for them. Now you have to find your driving force. And it's got to motivate you at a deep, deep level. When you do things, when you think about things that you do for yourself, your kids and their success it always tears away that selfish part of you. It kills it. And the reason why I say that is that you need that motivation to be something that neutralizes you away from taking of the self. Because again, all you're doing is these little fleeting momentary things that satisfy you but don't end up helping out the long-term plan. That's only if the kids and their success are your long-term plan. But again, I've always told you before, why do you have kids if you're not going to do anything or help them? I mean, what's the point? You don't need to have children in order, what do you need to have children for if you're not going to invest in your children? I mean, hell, you see Grant Cardone doing stuff with his daughters. He's married. He has a family. You can laugh and say, well, he might be miserable and all of this stuff, but at least his determination is on making sure his kids got it. His daughters have it. And I got to salute that effort because it means something. That them creating generational success or making a Cardone a family household name, so when he's done, his children can benefit from that. And he's teaching his daughters how to be successful. Now he can do both. He has the name, the money, the connections, everything in order to do it. But you see what he's doing now. He's getting to a point where he's starting to look down. He's looking at his children and saying, you're coming of age, and you start seeing them in the videos more often. You start seeing them at the shows, the 10X concerts more often. So again, if you have that motivation where you want to be able to bring your children into something, or you want to do that, you've got to be inspired by something greater beyond yourself. And again, it has to be the removal of the self. Because again, when you are servicing people or you're in service of people, you're doing things not from the self. You are being selfless. It's less of the self. And again, I'm doing land because again, it was something that I needed to learn myself. And it was something that I could look at other people that I could explain down to the base rudimentary level to get them to understand that everything that started with the house, everything that hits your roof, from a raindrop to dirt to air to snow to wind to fire, anything in there, it all started not the top but at the bottom of land. And that structure, like I keep talking about all the time, you see these apartments, they weren't there at one point. It was something else. Maybe they were homes. Maybe they were a playground. Maybe it was a park. In another 100 years, those luxury apartment complex will turn into something else. That will be something else in 50 years. But you know what will not change? The land. Think about that. Think about it. What will not change in all of that is the land. Just imagine if you owned that land and you had that land under lease, that whoever was building there, they had to lease that land from you. Just like you do for an apartment. You can lease land. Again, you can lease land for 100 years. There's another set of apartments over there to your far right. So you lease this land, right? 100 years. You're long gone. Your family is getting this income coming in. Say you release it for 100 years at $1,000 a month. Well, that ain't a lot of money. Well, it's $12,000 a year that you know is going to come in no matter what. So when you're 90 years old, this money's still going to be coming in. It's still going to be coming in. Now, if you tax some interest at where it's a adjustable interest rate, or it's however you structure it financially, because you can be smarter than me in that aspect, you may decide that you want to put some interest on that. Yearly interest, monthly interest, I don't know. But if the interest rates are where they're at now, like they were in the 80s, and now they're going back up where it's 8, 7, 8, 9%, well, then you're still making more money. And when you cannot work, that land is still making you income. And you can rely on Social Security and all these other things all you want, but that 100-year lease is still going to be kicking in. I don't know what the heck that was. Think about that. You got to have something that inspires you. You got to have tenacity. You got to have determination. Because believe me, you will reach points where people around you will expect you to fail. You will reach points where people close to you that say they love you want to see you fail. You will reach points where, again, the only person that believes in you is you. And you'll have to believe in yourself despite all doubt. It's called self-esteem. Self-determination. And it doesn't disqualify the people in your life, but it definitely needs to qualify you. Because it's your dream. And why the hell should anybody else care about your dream if you don't care enough to achieve it? Answer me that. If you don't care enough to achieve your dream, then why should I care about it? Why should it be my responsibility to care about your dream? And if I do care, if I see you care enough, I may sign on board. But it is not my responsibility to make your dream happen. It's your life. And that's the way you got to think about it. If they help you or don't help you, so what? If you fall and you got to get back up, so what you fell? You didn't make the team this year. Get back in practice and make the team next year. So what you didn't make it now? Jordan got cut from his high school basketball. That's what everybody talks about. But you know what they also talk about? So what? What did he do afterwards? He shot free throws every day in the summer until he stopped missing. And then he didn't miss anymore. Then he made every team. Then he was rookie of the year. Then he's one of the top 5 great. See how it keeps going? Because he said, I didn't make it. So what? I'm going to go practice. I didn't do well on the test. So what? I got 100 on the next one. I failed in this business, but so what? I'm going to be successful in my next one. Or I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I didn't make $1 million this year. So what? You get back and get on that grind. But if you're going to let every failure be something that knocks you back, you're going to be further back than where you started before you failed at all. You got to say, I failed, so what? But the key thing is, when you say so what, that means so what? I've learned from it. It's not so what I keep on failing. It's so what I've learned how not to repeat those same mistakes. And when you say that, you got a better chance than when you started if you had to do it again. And eventually, When you eliminate all the mistakes, you will make no mistakes. It is possible. You have pitchers who don't make one mistake and no bats. They get what is it called? A no-hitter. Extremely hard to do. One base hit, done. They'll do it though. And again, you got to remember, greatness comes at a cost. And the cost is you. If you want to be great, you're going to have to sacrifice whoever you are today to become something that you're not, which is great. The person that starts out on the road to greatness is not the same person that achieved greatness. It is a finality. And you got to understand that only the greats climb the highest mountains. But the mountain is littered with people who thought they were great and tried and failed and never said, so what? So I'm going to tell you something. You ever see me one day, would you shake my hand and say, so what? So what? And I'll know that you are a person that said, so what? I learned. I learned from my failures. I've learned from my mistakes. That's what so what means. So what means I'm not repeating it. I'm not repeating my mistakes. I've learned to be successful. And another note, folks, my book on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt, get yourself a copy, folks. Learn how to be successful by learning by a person who said, so what? Getting Dollars from Dirt, a beginner's guide to vacant land investing. Remember, folks, I've told you before, you either own property or you'll be owned as property. I'm Philip Davis, your host, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Either own property or you'll be owned as property, folks. Peace, and I'm out.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Philip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.